Hello there, and welcome back to Chapter 4 of the continuation series of the What If Starkiller and Vader killed Sidious and ruled the galaxy. Neither of them rule the galaxy at this point in time because both of them are missing, but hopefully not for long. The stories really begin to heat up. There's, again, a lot of questions still unanswered. There's a whole bunch of reveals. We're taking the story in some crazy new directions today. Some you might not expect. And yeah, let's just get right into it. I hope y'all enjoy. We open with Luke Skywalker as he enters the Ziost Temple. We see several pages of texts and scrolls, and in the center of the room lays the holocron from Malachor, along with many ancient books open to specific pages. He kneels down, reading the text for a time as Mara enters the room with a concerned look on her face. "Luke, there's no way you can do that ritual. And who's going to stop me?" Luke shoots back. Mara, with a grunt of frustration, steps over to Luke. "Not only is what you're trying to do deemed forbidden, but it hasn't been possible for millennia. My father was born of the Force itself. My power is near infinite," Luke boasts. "Anything is possible for me." He turns to Mara with a grimace. "This is the only way to control that creature." Mara looks hesitant, but only sighs, as Kip Duron drags Lor-San Tekka inside the temple. Luke turns to Tekka as he motions for Mara to leave, as he confronts Tekka. "You cannot control it, Skywalker," he argues, "no matter how much power you wield." "Your primitive mind deludes the idea that power is the only way, when the truth is that real power comes from knowledge." With the flick of a wrist, Luke snaps the neck of San Tekka as he collapses to the ground in a heap. He motions for Kip to leave as Kip follows Mara out of the temple, while Luke returns to his ritual. He gets into a meditation position, channeling the dark side in its fullest form as he chants in the ancient Sith language. He begins to levitate off the ground as the holocron opens, as does Tekka's body. There is a blur of mystical crimson energy in the form of mist that forms around both bodies. Suddenly, Tekka's eyes fire open as his body lands on his feet. Luke, while in meditation, begins to move his fingers in midair, and as we cut to Tekka's body, it begins to move its fingers just as Luke does. The corpse begins to walk out of the temple and into the nearest shuttle. Mara and Kip watch this feat of power in awe and horror at what Luke is accomplishing. As San Tekka's corpse launches the shuttle into the air, we see how this power takes a toll. The already molding corpse begins to tear apart under the taxing power of the dark side, as San Tekka's body becomes more and more zombie-like, with its chipping pale skin and its gray eyes twitching. The shuttle lifts into the air and moves to the destroyer where Luke holds his little creature. We cut to the inside of the shuttle as San Tekka's corpse drags itself through the destroyer's halls. We see that the ship is completely empty of people, only being managed by stolen security droids now reprogrammed to serve the Dark Lord's wishes. The corpse then enters a high-security door guarded by 4 droids, which allow him to pass. The room inside is pitch black, without anything to see as the corpse continues forward. We hear loud growls, maddening roars from the darkness, as we see 2 eyes, purple and sickly, peer out from the darkness. They analyze the corpse for a time, but ultimately back off. That is when the corpse of Tekka begins to speak, his voice growly and broken.
"You must have many questions of why you're here."
The creature in the shadows growls as the corpse continues, as we cut between both Tekka's corpse and Luke saying these words.
"I am in need of your service, creature. You wield something only I wish I could accomplish myself, and you will serve my will.
The creature seemed angered by this proclamation, but the corpse only continues to speak.
Oh, it angers you, huh? Go ahead, try to take me out. You can't touch me even if you tried.
There is a long silence, a chill in the air that didn't exist within the ship as the corpse continued.
You'll be kept here until you serve your purpose. Then you'll be freed.
With the jolt, the corpse begins to limp back out of the room and into the hallway once again, before we cut to Luke as he releases the corpse and exits his meditation. As he gets back to his feet, we hear several voices attempting to scream out to Luke, but can only be heard as whispers. He looks around, trying to see what the noise is, or where it comes from, but he can't make it out, and just decides to leave the temple. We cut to Bogano as Jaina, Han, and their rescuer, who looks awfully like Galen Merrick, sit and rest. We see that Han has been given a med pack and some ice, and that he is now recovering from his prior wounds, while Jaina and the rescuer speak. So, let me get this straight. You look and sound exactly like Master Galen Merrick, but you're not him? No, I understand it may be confusing, the figure says. I am a clone of Galen Merrick, created on Camino years ago. I was created to kill him, but I made a different call. Well, what happened? The Starkiller clone shrugs. I was there on Malachor, facing the true host. Then in a surprise move, he targeted my head, and I saw all these memories that weren't mine. I realized then that I had been being used by my master, so I fled. So where the hell have you been all this time? Han asks from the corner. The clone sighed, trying to remember as much as he could. After Malachor, I went on my own for a long time, he explained. I wanted to understand just exactly who and what I was. That's when the Empire went after me. Apparently, they still believed me to be a loyal pawn of Vader's, and so I was required to die from there. After that, I decided to put my focus on attacking the Empire, raiding small bases and ambushing outposts. Nothing big enough to draw a large crowd, but enough to make a mark. The question is, now, why'd you help us? Han continues, asking through grunts of pain. Starkiller looks at both Han and Jaina with a sigh. I was coming here anyways, when I sensed a disturbance in the Force. When I got here, I saw you both in danger. He explains. That's how we got to here now. The three continue to walk to the temple, as Jaina points something out. You came for something in the temple. I came hoping to find something, Starkiller admitted. If those disturbances I felt become true, then we need to act quickly. What kind of disturbance? Han asks. Starkiller sighed. I felt the real Galen Merrick. I heard him screaming in unimaginable pain. I sense something dark is about to happen. Wait, you felt Galen alive? Han asks. He turned to Jaina with a look of concern. How come your mother couldn't sense him? Don't forget that I'm his clone, and the fact that he shared his memories with me. There's a form of bond through the Force between us, the Starkiller clone explains. Nevertheless, he is in danger, and I need to find and save him. I owe him that. We cut to the Millennium Falcon, as we see Leia, Chewie, Anakin Solo, and Jason as they fly through hyperspace towards Nar Shaddaa. Leia activates a mini holo projector as the image of one Mr. Lando Calrissian appears. Master Skywalker, how can I help you? Lando, you are experienced with a criminal organization called the Shadow's Blade. Lando raises an eyebrow to ask if she's being serious. Darling, everyone and their grandmothers got beef with the Shadow's Blade. They're everywhere. What do you mean, everywhere? Is there a way to get an audience with them? Leia asks. Lando laughs for a long moment, which is kinda awkward for the crew of the Falcon, before he finally calms down and explains. They're everywhere and nowhere at the same time, Lando explains. They live in the shadows of Nar Shaddaa, taking loot and bounties, infiltrating political parties, Emperor Palpatine style. They're never anywhere for too long before chaos begins erupting. If you want to talk to them, you better be ready to play a game of 4D holo chess. Any idea on where to start? Leia asks. Lando thinks for a while. Prince Zazor, he says. Back in the day, the Black Sun and the Shadow's Blade were pretty close. Then that's where we'll begin. Thank you, Lando. No problem, Master Jedi. See you around. We cut to the Death Star, hovering in deep space away from Imperial space. We go inside to the throne room, where we see Thrawn, now the Emperor of the Galactic Empire. We see throughout the throne room various pieces of exotic artwork all around the room, various artifacts and treasures that Thrawn has dug up and examined. He sits in his throne, looking at a holoscreen, as a small squad of X-Wing fighters attack a small Imperial base. He analyzes the rebels' battle tactics, his face remaining calm and composed despite his concerns. The doors to the throne room open, and we see a Zabrak officer walking in, escorted by Thrawn's royal guards. Keep in mind that Thrawn, unlike Palpatine, sees the benefits in having aliens serve the Empire, rather than control a solely human empire. The officer looks afraid as he brings his news. My Emperor, I regret to inform you that we recently lost our base on Manan. Thrawn looks irritated, but remains calm. Tell me, officer, what force brought this base down? A squad of X-Wing fighters came from hyperspace and wailed on the base with full force. The fighters never had a chance to scramble. Thrawn nods as he thinks to himself. He understands what's happening. You need not fear my wrath, officer. What you have brought me today only continues to confirm my theory. Theory, sir? The officer asks. Thrawn looks over the video he has been watching. I've seen these attacks, studied them. They only get more and more common. Consistent rebellion against the army we've worked so hard to build. I believe that war is nearly upon us. A rebellion uniting their forces to match our power. Then what do we do? The officer asks with concern. Thrawn keeps his cool as he looks at the officer. We will continue to watch their tactics. We will see how they play, and then we shall play their game. They will show us how to end them, and we will soon have the proper army to match them. We cut to Bogano as Starkiller, Jaina, and Han walk up the entrance to the Zepho temple. Starkiller uses the Force to open the door as the three sneak inside. Han looks at Jaina. We should probably tell your mother and brothers where we are. We have to find a way to do that first, Jaina added on. They step into the temple and look around inside in awe as Starkiller begins to look around. Where is it? Where's what exactly? Han asks. Starkiller grows more concerned before letting out a frustrated sigh. The compass. What compass? Han asks, with a little more irritation. Starkiller slowly calms himself as he turned to face both Jaina and Han. My vision led me to finding a compass that would help me find Galen Merrick. It was supposed to be here, but I can't see it. Perhaps it's not supposed to just be here, Jaina suggests. My mother always taught me that things aren't always present to the eye's deceit. She closed her eyes, sensing the temple around her, as she moved to one of the walls, which possesses a mirror as she places her fingers against it, channeling the Force. Jaina opens her eyes, finding herself in this black and white vision world, similar to what Cal Kestis saw in Jedi Fallen Order. She sees herself running alongside Han and the Starkiller clone, although she cannot interact with them. She continues to explore this world as she hears terrifying screams, seeing both the Jedi Temple and Death Star in flames, with piles of Jedi and Stormtrooper corpses all around her, with a dark shadow looming. She's felt this unimaginable darkness in the pit of her soul, this rising anger that consumes her more and more until she can no longer handle it. She feels herself collapsing to the ground as she hears unhuman shrieks, as she sees the people of bodies of people she knew calcifying into nothing. The sounds of lightsaber strikes can be heard. She looks up to see Jason and Anakin dueling in a violent display of battle. Anakin, the same as Jaina remembers him, but Jason, now wielding a crimson blade and wearing the uniform of an Imperial soldier. Jaina rushes in to break up the fight, igniting her own lightsaber. But to her surprise, her blade ignites a crimson red. Stunned by what she sees, Jaina is caught off guard by another crimson blade as Jason impales her with his own, while Anakin and Leia's voices can be heard screaming out to the two. Jaina wakes with a fright, looking around her surroundings as Han comforts her. "What was that?" "Some kind of force vision," Jaina explains through heavy breathing as Han calmed her down. In the center of the room now lays the compass as Starkiller grabs it. "Impressive work, Jedi." Jaina silently nods as Starkiller overlooks the compass. "At last we can find Merrick and bring an end to all this." They look at the compass, and it shows the title of a planet, Jakku. And that is where this part ends. Alright, so we got some stuff going down. I hope you liked the new little voice thing I did for Luke's zombie ability, and I hope you liked the little tiny bit of music I threw in there. I can't do a whole bunch of music because of copyright, and I really hope this music doesn't get copyrighted. I have dialogue over it, so hopefully it should work. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Share your theories in the comments below. Tell everybody about this series. Get everybody hyped, get the comment section hype, and I'll see you with the next part. See ya.